when Maharaj says that the entire world appears upon your presence, I was just reading where Siddhartha Meshra Maharaj says, when I say my, like my house, my car, these are my things, but are not me. So when Maharaj says the entire world appears upon your spontaneous presence, that's your presence, but not you. You know, the presence is kind of the indicator that there's an existence, but it's your presence.
But
Presence has been added on, and all this world is then added on to that illusory presence.
so it's your presence, but it's not you. Is that? Would you say that?
Your spontaneous presence,
But it's
everything
not
is
you.
added on. It's not you. You're the knower of that sense of presence. So it's your presence that you are knowing.
But
If
that's
presence
not,
was you, you couldn't know it.
it's not an individual presence, it's just presence.
But it's still, it can't be, it's not known. You're the knower of presence because presence can be known. So presence is an indication of existence, but it's not you. You're the knower of the sense of presence. And that is the subtlety, just like when we just talked about Nisargadatta Maharaj saying, I'm not doing the mantra, I'm listening to the mantra because it's inviting the attention of the invisible listener, and the mantra is being done through the instrumental body. So in the same respect, in this way, it's my spontaneous presence that all of this is appearing on, but I'm the knower of that presence. If I wasn't the knower of the presence, then the presence and I would just, there wouldn't be a known. You couldn't know, like you can't know yourself. That's why you are formless knowledge, the knower, that all of this is appearing on and in and through, and you are all of it.
It's just words don't quite capture it, I guess.
No, it cannot, because it's a formless knower that knows things, and your presence is a thing. You can sense it, you can feel it, and all that is an indication of an existence, of your existence, but it's yours and not you. That's the big distinction. And that's why throwing away all the concepts, all the books. I mean, I enjoy reading the books in the daytime and in the evening time during the commute because it just keeps that, I don't know, I just love it. I have like 10 different books on Kindle, and I go and I read like one chapter of each one of the books, and I found that that's really cool too, because you're not following any kind of pattern of anything. You're reading like one chapter of this book, one, and it's all mixed up with the same message, of course, except your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Atman, no Paramatman, no Master. So you don't get carried away in reading the words of the book and going to the next chapter and having any kind of a timeline where there isn't one.
You ever find like something that you were thinking about, and then something you spontaneously read or turn to a page or something, and it like applies directly right to that thing you were thinking about?
This exercise I've done in the past, yes. Just like asking questions. Okay, what to do when you learn it and you read in the book. Selfless self can do this. Because it's constant communication with you and the master. You believe that you're communicating with yourself through the form of the book, but you are, it's all you. So you're, you know, when you're reading Siddharameshwara Maharaj, you're Siddharameshwara Maharaj. You provided the power, the energy, and we're speaking through the instrument, Siddharameshwara Maharaj. So then as you're using this instrument of you, reading this, it's all you. It's all your knowledge, and you're still the formless knower, just as you were when you spoke those words. Are you as you are reading them? That's why Maharaj says it's your story, and you invite the attention of the invisible listener and the invisible reader. You're reading the reader, not what's read, not the words. And that's why it's really cool too, breaking it up. You know, it's like, I am that, read a chapter. What's the other one? Amrut Leia, read a chapter. Master of Self-Realization, read a chapter. Nothing is Everything, read a chapter. Essential Nisargadatta, read a chapter. Meditation, Nisargadatta, read a chapter. And it just goes like this, and there's no kind of timeline at all, but it's the same message from the same reader to the same listener and speaker. Accept your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Atman, no Paramatman, no master. And when you read it this way, it has no chance. Like you'll be reading about the 4 bodies in one book, and then the next book will be reading about something totally different, but it's constantly inviting the attention of the invisible listener without getting bogged down in the concepts of, I wonder what Siddharameshwar Maharaj meant by this, or I should write this down and ask Maharaj this question, or something like this. Instead, you're just inviting the attention of the invisible listener, the invisible reader, the invisible speaker, that all of this is the same. It's your story.
It's just consciousness using different instruments to talk to itself, right?
Yeah, basically and consciousness appeared on your spontaneous presence. Because like Maharaj says, consciousness, unconsciousness, all these words came along with the body in a world where there was knowledge that was obtained rather than just knowing the knower that was trying to gain this knowledge. Because there was knowledge that was known, there's automatically assumed that there's someone that knows this knowledge or acquiring this knowledge, rather than just the knower of whatever happens to be coming, the witness about whatever happens to be appearing, but no witnesser and no experiencer.
And no assumptions.
Well, see, then we're very far removed from that. Formlessly aware. And even that, there's no effort. The mantra invites the attention of the invisible listener and keeps you remaining with your selfless self until that break happens where this beingness is not needed and everything's just kind of appearing, scenes appearing before you, and that's it. But in the scenes appearing before you, you know you're using this instrument in this illusory world, and it's not you and has nothing to do with you because you never were in it. You and the world are one and the same. There's no separation. There's no separation from anything. So you are all there is. Imagining yourself to be other than yourself. And every time you think about how you can be the self, you're creating a situation where you have a conceptual belief that you're other than yourself that you need to contemplate on.
And consciousness misunderstand itself?
Again, when we say consciousness, that's it can mean many, many things, but if you're talking about the you that you are, the selfless self, doesn't understand or misunderstand anything. There's nothing there. It's just there. It's the formless knower. So there's no how you were prior to beingness and after leaving the body. There's no misunderstanding or understanding or anything. Only understanding can come once you've separated yourself through conceptual belief using a body, believing that you're something separate, an individual. Otherwise, all these concepts don't make sense at all.
So the separation causes the confusion.
There's no separation other than through conceptual, you're thinking or trying to find out how you're this selfless self, this whatever, God, Atman, Paramatman, Master. You're trying to think of how you are that. And in doing so, you have to create the concept that you're a separate thinker, thinking about how to become what you are.
Pretty crazy.
That's why Nisargadatta Maharaj says the highest state is not, the highest worship is to not entertain a thought. Remain thought-free. How do you remain thought-free? You stop purchasing thoughts. Because there's nothing there that you're interested in, because deep inside your selfless self, you know that this world is absolutely illusory. I'm using this illusory body, this food body, as they always talk about. This body was created by food because the more food and then water and everything, it grew, just like a plant. But then there's the identification that this plant is me. And now it's just I'm using this form in this form world, but none of it is true because I remain with my formless, selfless self. I remain as the knower. Once I know the sense of presence, then I am the knower of that sense of presence. It's my presence, but it's not me. I'm the knower of the presence. The presence is the indication that there is some sort of existence or something there, and that something there is myself.
So the presence is the I am. Is that the awareness of existence, which is like pure consciousness, simply I am with no content, and then it moves into identified consciousness with all the the particularities of, around us. Basically, it's all the identifications or whatever.
There's just in other words, this I am, you could say, is the sense of presence. When Nisargadatta Maharaj says, remain with the I am and all the secrets will be revealed, the secret is that you are the knower, that at one time you thought this I am, this presence was
me.
Like, because it stopped, once you pay more and more attention to that, then mind stops. You stop paying so much attention to the world, and you're slowly unwinding yourself back to the source. But beingness and I amness goes as well.
I think you said last week it was 2 weeks ago it was the bridge or whatever.
Yeah, because it's the knowing that there is an existence there. And then you're the knower of that sense of presence, which all this world is appearing on the spontaneous presence. Without your presence, there's no world. We've taught, the presence leaves this body. There's no world. There's no nothing. It's just back to your own self. The I am, this sense of presence, is the bridge of your reality where you are the source and this illusory world, which you then believe that you're a character in. And before you even believe you're a character in it, you just have a sense that there is existence. But you label the existence as I am. And then I am comes with I am somebody else. I am this body in this world. And you just recede. And that's why Siddharameshwara Maharaj talks about all the different bodies and goes, clear of this. Okay, you're this. No, you're not that. Okay, how about this? Nope, you're not that. And then this. And each one, like he says, is a step clearing. Okay, not the gross body, not the subtle body, not the causal body, not the great causal body. None of these things. They're all appearing on spontaneous presence, and you're the knower of the sense of presence. How can formless knowing, formless knowledge, and the knowledge is just that there's existence. And once you know the existence and you truly remain with your selfless self, then all the things that are appearing on that knowledge of existence have nothing to do with the knower. And that's what Maharaj says, nothing's happening, nothing is ever happening, and nothing will ever happen. How you were prior to beingness and how you'll be after leaving the body, that's your selfless self. In between this nothing, there appears to be something, and this appearance of something is identified with, believed in, and sought after. That love to be creates this appearance where there is absolutely nothing, because once you sense the existence, I exist as this body, because I'm taking this body. When you recede, of course, life, world, all these things are still there, but you absolutely know that you're a user of this body in this existence because you are formless, and none of these things could affect you. They could chop this body into 100,000 pieces, and yes, there would feel pain, but you, the selfless self, are totally detached, just like the dreamer dreaming. If they were doing terrible things to the dream body, you might sense like, whoa, you know, wake up in a terror, but nothing's actually happening to you. Sorry, this little blue thing is.
I've been having this feeling like, I don't know, maybe for about a week or so, of just simply looking down on everything, myself included, as if I'm unrelated to me and everything else. Basically seeing it as something just simply happening. I know that I think Siddhar Meshwara says it's all imagination. It's all simply dream. But there is kind of like, you know, there's a disconnect beginning to take place, you know, like from that individuality or whatever. I don't know if it can be sort of, you know, like, I don't know how much the mind can actually capture or understand all of this, basically, because, you know, when we speak about the knower, the formless knower, if there's really nothing there, there can be nothing to be known. So there can be no knower. I mean, you know, like all there is selfless self, as you say, and as Maharaj says, and it's just that. To know, there's got to be something outside of that to know, be known, in other words. So just, if there is nothing, if this is all simply an appearance, it's not a you know, it's, as I said, it's a dream. It doesn't have, there's no, it's not, it doesn't really exist, then I guess the awareness that is the knower of that. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but how can there be a knower?
Well, the idea that you just talked about as your less and less identification with the thought, that's your world, you know, and that's the things that are covering up your selfless self is your identification and your interest in these thoughts. When you're not paying attention to this thought flow, then there's not you, and there's just kind of a witnessing, the same as you're witnessing a plane going across the sky without much attention whatsoever. That's the reason. When you stop identifying and following this train of thought and trying to piece together, I am somebody having these thoughts, doing these things, and the only thing you're doing is removing the illusory layers from your selfless self, which, you know, if you've been doing mantra and you've been trying to remain with your selfless self, all these illusory layers will dissolve, and there'll be nothing for you to pay attention to other than your selfless self, which you will kind of feel while using a body instrument as a withdrawal, but in reality it's just dissolving the things that were covering you.
Yeah.
There's nothing to know because these thoughts are things and you're not a thing. So these thoughts that are just passing through, you're no longer identifying as a someone looking at these thoughts and putting them into action as my thoughts. You remain thought-free in those instances where you're using body with not really knowing what what's going to happen next. You're just using body, okay, doing this and doing that and this and not really paying attention. Just like athletes when they're in the zone and they do their basketball thing and go up to the hoop and slam dunk, they're totally in the zone. They're not really paying attention to dribbling or how their legs are moving or what their distance is to the basket or anything like that. They're literally in the zone, not thinking about themselves, just remaining as their selfless self. And this actions are being happening through the body, but not any doer or thinker or knower.
But the knower can know itself.
Using
Not
a body instrument.
Yeah, not as an object though, but as itself, knowing itself. Because
This is a concept. Definitely a concept. When you have had this experience of being with your selfless self, then there's nothing to know. There's nothing other. There's no thinking. There's no apparatus of thought. There's nothing. So to say that there's a sense of existence means there's still the concept of a duality of I know I exist. This I am, I know this I am, and this I am is arising on my spontaneous presence. But the break will happen. The beingness will be discarded, and you will remain with your selfless self. The concept of, if there's all, again, like the space in the room, there's no knowingness of that. There's nothing. It's like if you, the selfless self, are this all of everything, there's nothing other to know. There's no instrument to use to know that you even exist except the body, the illusory connection with the body. When spirit clicks with the body, you say I. And the instrument that you're measuring yourself is in body form. You're using the body to measure yourself in body form so that the sense of existence, Otherwise, you don't know you exist. Prior to beingness, like Maharaj says, knock, knock on the door. Who's there? Nobody. Okay, somebody is there to say nobody. Well, something, the selfless self, was there that all of this appeared on and started to function through. There had to be someone first. Going to sleep, having the deep sleep and the dreams and waking up, one continuous. The body being connected, the lifespan of the appearance in this body, the disappearance of body, but there's one continuous. That continuous is you, where all these are appearing on your spontaneous presence. But there's no knowing of anything until the illusory concept of otherness, where the illusory body, this body unit, is measuring the sense of existence, the I am.
But at the same time, you can be aware that you are aware.
Using an instrument of body, yes, because there's something other to perceive, through or to. As one whole, everything, no. No, it can't be. Maharaj talks about it all the time. You don't know yourself. I don't know. You don't know yourself. After leaving the body, you don't know yourself. And then you say, oh my God, well, all that was for a waste. But all that never was. You, the selfless self, didn't change, didn't move. There was no movement in you. There was like, you have not experienced anything. The instrument that you're using to experience in the moment is how the experiencing occurs, and the beingness is the kind of the registration of that experience. And after leaving the body, there is no experience. That's why Nisargadatta Maharaj says, if you knew you were going to be born, meaning you knew you were there, and now you're born into the womb in all the muck, would you do it? No. But you did not know. It just appeared. You didn't even know you existed. And then, pop, here you are.
And pop, there you go.
Yeah, and then, pop, there you go. It just happened. And the idea is when you know yourself in a real sense, you will not dread not knowing yourself anymore because you're there. You're always there. Okay. How is this formlessness that I am knowing myself as, how is it affected when this body dies? It's not. I may not know myself, but I am there. So there's no fear. Who's going anywhere? It can't go anywhere. Once you know yourself in a real sense, you're no longer interested in this body and this world and all this kind of stuff. And whether the body is there or not there, you are, and you know you are.
So there is a knowingness of existence.
While using body form.
But prior to the body, you just said, okay, if there's no body, you are still there.
Because you know that once you know yourself in a real sense, using the instrument, the body. That's the knowingness.
I know,
That's
but what if the body isn't there?
Well, but
No.
the body is there. In this moment, you can use this instrument of body to know that sense of presence, which is the indication that there's existence. That existence is that formlessness. That formlessness does not need form and does not need beingness because it's formless. It can't die. So you, as you're leaving the body, will experience the fact that you're leaving. And then there will be no knowing because there's no instrument of knowing nor anything other than yourself to know. But you'll know this. See, that formless sense of presence, that's why Maharaj says, you know yourself in a real sense and the fear of death evaporates. Because you're there. Whether you know you're there or not, you know you're there when you use the instrument of body and remain with your selfless self.
But you know that you're there even though the body isn't there?
No. As you're leaving the body, you're aware that you're leaving the body, and then there will be no awareness of anything. As it talks about, all the things will be withdrawing, but you'll know you're leaving the body, and then you'll know nothing. There will be nothing because there's nothing. But you know this. See, you know that you never were. Once you know yourself in a real sense, then there is no mistaking whether this body is here or not. I am. I know this because I know myself in a real sense now. I'm no longer knowing myself through this body form and all these different various things that this body is around. I know myself in a real sense. And that I know I am cannot be burned, cannot be cut, cannot be tortured, cannot be killed, cannot live, nothing. So therefore, laying on the, quote, deathbed, you can easily just remain with your selfless self and observe all the different things passing until nothing. And then there's nothing to know. But while you are leaving, you know you are. The body made no difference whatsoever. How you were prior to beingness and how you were after leaving the body is your true reality. All this stuff that we're talking about and worrying about whether it's going to be there or not be there and all the concepts and all that, that's not your reality. And now it's finished.
I guess it's sort of the deep sleep state where there's no object.
No need to, even that's conceptual. You see, right now, through mantra and through dissolving illusory concepts by remaining with your selfless self, and you know yourself in a real sense, then deep sleep and waking and all these kind of stuff, it appeared in the illusory world. In the appearance, it absolutely has nothing to do with you. How you were prior to beingness, how you'll be after leaving the body, that's your reality. All of this illusion that you're appearing in is not your reality, and you'll return to your reality, but you get to know your reality while in the illusory world. Kind of like we talked about, the dreamer waking up in the dream and realizing it's a dream.
Yeah.
The only difference in that analogy is a dreamer would actually wake up and start something new. You, the selfless self, you never were anything to do with this dream world. Nothing at all. You have this body so you can know yourself in a real sense. so that when this body leaves, you'll know it has no effect on you whatsoever. And you'll leave happily. It'll be such a joy to know, like, you know yourself in a real sense. And all the things that were appearing, all the things that you clung to, all the attachments, all the everything never was. And yet you are. Hundreds of thousands of bodies have been born and died and born and died and born and died, and nothing has affected you.
Just hard to, I don't know, understand that you are, but you don't know that you are.
You know you are when you're using the instrument of body, knowing yourself in a real sense now.
Yeah.
And then once you know yourself in a real sense, you know you're there. You know that is. So when you don't know, who cares? Because you are. Once you know yourself in a real sense, the entire, like Maharaj says, the open secret is there. You're formless. All this form means nothing. You were there prior to being this. You'll be there after leaving the body. You always are. How do you know that? When you realize and recognize yourself in a real sense and not in body form. You no longer measure yourself in body form. You used the body to measure yourself in the sense of existence that you continuously kept inviting the attention of the invisible listener. This sense of existence, where's the source? The source is you're the knower of that sense of existence formlessly. Therefore, all the form is automatically discarded. And when it comes time to leave the body, that same presence that clicked with the body will unclick with the body. And that's why Nisargadatta Maharaj says the lighter. Where does the flame die? I click the lighter, whoop, the flame comes. I turn it off, the flame goes away. No death, no birth.
The knower of that sense of presence, could you say that that's what awareness is?
And awareness and all these kind of things.
I mean, I know they're all conceptual, but you know, any word that we use is going to be a conceptual reality. Yes. So
that's why we want to,
yeah,
at least in my own self, block this, like
using different words for.
Yeah, and I think Nisargadatta Maharaj probably did this. Ramakant Maharaj does this. It's like, okay, here are all these words. These are the building blocks. Understand this this thing that cannot be understood. Understand it conceptually, but then throw these blocks away.
Yeah.
Because when I sit there and I try to say awareness, too much impressions of body knowledge have come of what I know about awareness, and I try to fit it in the conceptual box. But remember, everything in this entire appearance is illusion. So no matter what the good words are, and I love that Maharaj doesn't use those crazy Sanskrit words that a lot of other folks out there will try to say the Sanskrit words, and then all the followers will be like, yes, let's say these Sanskrit words exactly like this way. But the idea is that know yourself in a real sense. And that's it. All of this knowledge, all these books, all this awareness and consciousness and all this kind of stuff was only a roadmap to your selfless self, so you could know yourself in a real sense, so that you would understand that this beingness and everything that came along with this body and this world and all of that is absolutely not true. And that when you're laying there and you're breathing in and breathing out, and you're witnessing this last illusory exit, you know, but I know myself in a real sense. This body has nothing to do with me. For a time, I used it as an instrument. I took care of it, like Maharaj says, the clothes. You don't just wear your clothes and not wash them. You don't just go and have your clothes all ripped to pieces and not worry about it. You take care of the body that you are using, but knowing that the body has absolutely nothing to do with you at all. Nothing. And then you start behaving in that way, using this body form, that, okay, these things are happening, but in reality, they're not. And this selfless self, whatever this mystery is creating everything through the ideas and beliefs and concepts I'm holding about myself. So when I have no concepts and beliefs about myself, I'm interacting in a very clean state where I'm out of it. But the lack of fear comes from knowing yourself in a real sense. You can't die. So when the body dies, who cares? It doesn't matter. Once you know yourself in a real sense, how you were prior to being this and how you'll be after leaving the body. And you're asking, how will you know? Because using this body instrument, you can know yourself in a real sense. Spirit clicked with the body and you say, I. There had to be a spirit to click with the body. So something is there prior to taking this body form. But it's a known nothing, because it's everything. Then it clicks with the body and believes in an illusory world and all this kind of stuff. And then you know yourself in a real sense. You go back to the source of where everything was. And while you have a body, you can sense. You use this body as a measuring cup, so to speak, to say, ah, okay, this is this sense of existence that I know. So when this body leaves, that sense of existence will still be there. There just won't be an instrument to sense it. Therefore, no fear of death. It doesn't die. You, yourself, the self, don't die. Can't die. And then the Bhagavad Gita, I think, is the one that says, can't be cut, can't be burned, can't be, divided, nothing, because that formlessness can't. So the body dies, but you don't.
There's kind of like a growing sense of, it's a growing sense that you have nothing to do with anything, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. In the ultimate state, you have nothing to do with anything. You can still move about, do your job, do your duties, perform all your responsibilities, but deep down inside, knowing I have nothing to do with this illusory world. I'm absolutely untouched with the world because I'm not in it. It's like.
I know Ranjit one time said that, he said, be the screen. The screen shows the picture. And he also said the screen always stays white. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And you, the self,
nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Remain absolutely formless, where all this form is appearing through. That's it. It's all appearing. All this is appearing on your spontaneous presence. You're the knower of the presence. It's your presence that you are knowing. So you're removed from the presence. That sense of existence is an indication that you are there. That where all experience ends, there you are. Where the whole entire world ends, there you are. Because you know yourself in a real sense. So the world can come and go, the people can come and go, the beingness can come and go, the body you're using can come and go. You do not come and go. You're the background of all existence.
One time I was in Mexico, I was laying on the beach and I was reading a book, and the sun was behind me, and my head and shoulders threw a shadow on the sand. And I remember the thought came to me, a shadow can't know the substance that creates it. It just can't. There's just a total difference between what's throwing the shadow and what the shadow is. In other words, it's kind of like the shadow can't know it's the substance that creates it, basically. And I don't know, it's kind of like the idea that, we're sort of like just a shadow cast by reality. And we can't really, we can know that we are shadow, but I don't know how much we can actually know reality in the sense of, because reality is everything. There's nothing to know. Kind of, I don't know.
Well, and that's why you use the body instrument with mind and intellect to know yourself in a real sense.
It seems like that spiritual euphoria that Maharaj speaks about is kind of like, it arises because of the getting rid of the whole identity. It's that freedom that's felt.
But that's a progressive step. Getting rid of the identity is the progressive step. Inviting the attention of the invisible listener is all you can do. And you're clearing the illusory layers so the invisible listener, once invited, will just take it from there. Mind, ego, intellect are just instruments, little roadmaps to get you to yourself with self. That's why the conceptualizing, every concept is taking you away from yourself. When the concepts are dissolved, it's allowing a more clear reflection, so to speak, so that you're inviting the attention of the invisible listener. You are ultimate truth. You are final truth. Accept your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Atman, no Paramatman, no Master. Nothing is there. When you know yourself in a real sense, then all this illusory world can come and go. And concepts and all of that you can still use, but it won't. There's nothing. You just, I don't know. It's spiritual entertainment. It's just entertaining. How long this body has to exist, I have no idea. But while it's here, I'll be using it. And that's it. You know, it's like... All needs, all requirements came along with the body. Everything came along with the body, and you are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. How you were prior to beingness, how you'll be after leaving the body, that's your reality. In between, this I am somebody else in a world is appearing, but the force, the energy, the selfless self that's providing the power for all of this to occur, all of these things will fold back into the nothing that is the reality that you are. And then once you know yourself in a real sense, you'll absolutely, totally grasp that it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. You're there. And whether you know yourself or you don't know yourself, you know now in this moment, you're there. You're there formlessly. You're formlessly there. All of this appears upon your spontaneous presence. So when it all disappears, you're still the background, like you were talking about, the white screen. After the whole movie is over and they turn the projector off, that screen's still there. Exactly as it was, untouched before the movie, untouched after the movie. And all the drama occurred on the screen, laughter, sadness, illness, happiness, marriage, children, college, job, retirement, all of that occurred on the screen for a time. The screen never changed and was never involved in any of the moving pictures.
Okay, John, I think we're at your timeline here.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't think Andrew heard this. We're going to do only 45 minutes now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, you weren't on the screen yet, but
okay.
And also, I have to go somewhere this week, so we won't have a meeting on the next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have my machine with me, so I can't do the Zoom thing. Anyway, so we'll just be in nothingness in the meantime.
Good, good, good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.